All right, how y'all doing today? How y'all doing today? I am your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, the best film writer and director in St. Louis. Facts, award-winning published author, activist, journalist, active business owner, Lacey G. Souldier Turner. And today we got a special guest. You already know the greatest talented man in Chicago, got his own talk show. He out here doing big things. I know y'all done seen him. We got Rico No Suave up on the show today. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm happy to be here, Lacey, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm ready to have a great time.
No problem, no problem. So my first question to you, Rico, is where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Chicago. Actually, I was on the south side of Chicago, and then we moved out, to the west suburbs when I was 7. So yeah, Chicago is the love.
So look, God just told me something. He told me to tell you to move to St. Louis. I heard you guys. Look, he can't. Hey, you gotta listen. But can you tell me how was your upbringing in Chicago?
Man, so the upbringing in Chicago wasn't easy. I mean, it was, when my parents came, my father and then my mom, when they met together, it was kind of like in the projects. And then, my father, started working for CTA, the Transit Authority. And then, he actually was there like for 35 years. So the upbringing, I have to say, man, it was all about music. It was all about food. It was all about family. It was all about respect. That's one thing that we've always had. And also, my parents always had goals, man. And even though, my mom, she didn't go through like college or anything like that. But, when she had, it's 7 of us. So when she had us, it was like, wow, I got a lot of work to do. So it was more of her having this goal. And then, of course, the father being, the provider, but also being the man of the house, knowing that he needs to make sure there's a roof over the house and there was food on the table, as well as my mom. I mean, she worked as well too, but, coming up with brothers and sisters and, just being able to say, hey man, we love those guys. We love that family. And people always want to come over to the house because we always dance, right? We love dancing, we love partying, we love having a great time. But when it was down to it, we knew exactly what our goal was. And that was number one, respect, but also being able to find a job. That's the biggest thing. You got to find a job. When you turn 16, I had my worker's permit from high school, and I had to go and get me a job. So man, the upbringing, it wasn't easy, but it was more of teaching us all in regards to responsibility. So that was love.
So y'all was basically like the Jackson 5. The Jackson 7.
But there was that discipline that was there, I tell you. Yes, sir.
Did you attend college?
I did. Yeah, I went to Oakwood College in Alabama. Was there for actually, I was there for diesel engineering. So when I saw a computer that was open, I was like, wow, what is this? So when I saw a computer that was open, I said, yo, I think this is my love right here. So that's when I got into IT, changed it to computer science, came back home, and then went to a trade school, computer learning center, and then started my trade. And it wasn't easy either. I mean, trying to find a job from college and a trade school just to try to get their hands on. People wanted at least a year experience. So I had to do contract work, but they saw the ambition in me to be able to say, hey, this guy is a leader. This guy can lead things. And even I was doing desktop stuff, but then I started doing like servers, and I got into routers and switches. And I got the whole love of the whole package. I was struggling, but I had to get through it,
Okay. So for anybody who hasn't been to Chicago, we see like a lot of, they told us the murders, everybody get killed. What can you tell people who've never been to Chicago about Chicago?
I would definitely say there's crime everywhere, right? Okay. Chicago, of course, there's 3 biggest cities. There's LA, Chicago, New York, right? Mm-hmm. And there's crime everywhere. I mean, there's crime everywhere. There's good and there's evil. When you come to Chicago, though, it's it's like when you're coming to Chicago, you feel like you're in a totally different city. You know that the food is different, and we love to party here as well too. But it's food, it's culture, it's so many great things here. And now that they're building up even more, and yeah, crime, of course, because of the pandemic, we started to see the criminals come out, right? But that's everywhere though, right? Because now the pandemic has took a step back and people mentality is different. But the culture of Chicago is like no other. I'm telling you. Hey, you guys come down to see me. I'm gonna show you guys a good time. I'm gonna show you guys where you guys need to go and hang out. So Chicago, it's all about food and entertainment with us, and also the culture. And we have a lot of great people here as well.
Yeah, when I went down there, my mom stayed down there, so I went to the pier, and and they always tell me every time I got to get that popcorn. I forgot the day.
Garrett's.
Yeah, Garrett's popcorns.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, what made you want to get into the entertainment field?
So, good question, man. So this is one of the questions that I love talking about. I mean, giving the answer to. Mm-hmm. It's because I started off because of the family, and we're so sociable, and we're like social butterflies, and we love humans, we love people, right? And when it comes down to it, it was more of me getting into teaching salsa classes. So I'm a teacher, salsa teacher as well. Yeah, exactly. Yes, sir. So when I was teaching Shai, there was one of my students that was getting married, and he said, "Hey, can you come and teach a salsa class before the party starts?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course. I'll do a nice little 30-minute. Okay, cool." So he gets on the mic, as far as the groom, he gets on the mic and he says, "Everybody, you guys got to get on the dance floor because this is one in a lifetime." And I'm sweating beads because I'm like, yo, I'm like, Chico, man, you got to be careful about that, man. Be careful. It's like, and then he's like, "No, you're good. I told everybody about you before you got here."
He made the pressure even worse. So thank you for making it worse.
Yeah, right. So, man, Lacey, so what happened was I had to get on the floor and I had to treat it as if I was teaching in the club, right? I had to teach it as if, and I'm dressed up, of course, right? Because one thing, of course, in a salsa scene and being old school, it's more of like you dress up, you look nice, you go out, you be classy, and you bring that atmosphere. So the wedding was a real good thing. So when I went there, it was a good time, man. I had a great time. Everybody loved it. Then a DJ that was there, my man Roberto, he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Bro, have you ever thought about your voice? Have you ever thought about being an MC?" Yeah. And I was like, "I got a lot of weddings, man, but your voice is so awesome." I'm like, "Thanks, man." I'm like, "Thanks for the brotherly love." I was like, I appreciate that. So he was like, "Yeah, man, if you can give me your number." So he gave me his number, and somebody else came to me and said, "Hey, Rico, I saw that you went to do a wedding." And then I was like, "Yeah." So I started doing another wedding. So one of the guests was like, "Hey, are you from like a talk show, or are you from the radio or anything?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, you should be." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." And you know how you doubt yourself, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly,
you're so used to doing one thing, and then all of a sudden somebody comes out and say, "Hey, Lacey and Rico, man, you guys are awesome, man. Your voices are awesome." He's like, "You need to actually have your own talk show." And second time around, you're like, "Man, I don't know. I don't know. I'll get back with you in a few years, Yeah. Then you do it again. And then the third person comes up and tells you.
Like God is trying to tell you something.
God is telling me something, my man. So I looked up in the sky. It's like, okay, let's do this. So that's when I came in with the company, my company called Special Occasion Events. Okay. So my dance company is called HotOneSalsa.com. And then this one was Special Occasion Events. So that's a company that I built just from emceeing. And then someone said, "Hey, you should have a DJ. Hey, you should have a photographer. Hey, you should have a videographer. Hey, you should have a wedding planner." So then I was like, I'm not saying no, let's do it, right? So I got right into it. And next thing you know, I had special occasion events. That became kind of like my start of a legacy, start of my journey with emceeing, rocking crowds and, being a hype man and just doing corporate events, doing big events as well, weddings, quinceañeras, y todo, right? And everything. So I started doing all of that. And then I got, and then I actually went and did, somebody saw me doing like something from my car. I was doing kind of a live and I was doing more inspirational and talking about everyday life. And then somebody saw one of my videos and said, hey, would you like to join my radio station? So I'm like, here we go. I'm like, I'm nervous now, right? I'm nervous because now you're talking about radio. Yeah. Now you're talking about radio station and you're talking about live streaming, right? Audio only. So I'm like, yeah, okay. All right, let's do it. Well, needless to say, after 2 months, that didn't work out because my personality, there was a little bit of conflict there, but my personality and that person, as far as where they were driving their company, we were on two different paths, but I started understanding because now I'm in IT, right? I'm looking at the whole mixer, I'm looking at the microphone, I'm looking like, okay, what can I do? So someone said, hey, remember when that person told you that you need your own talk show? This is your time now. Mm-hmm. So that's when I started, of course, and my name has always been Rico No Suave. So I was like, okay, Rico No Suave show. It's got a Rico No Suave talk show. Let's do it. So that's when I started in 2018. I started my Rico No Suave show. And I said, I'm not going to go more towards podcasts. I'm going more towards TV, right? I like the visual aspect, and that's exactly where I'm going. So big shout out to my agent, Beatrice, of course. Got to give her some love because of this.
Hello, B.
Right, B, my girl B. So, now I'm going to actually, I'm going towards syndication now. So we hopefully be syndicated. But it's going to be my 4th year next week, man. Next week is our 4-year.
Congratulations.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate that. So my Rico No Suave talk show is my co-host with my co-host Valerie Malesio. And then I have a production assistant, engineer. Sorry, I should say engineers. She stop saying assistant. Yeah, engineers, man. They're engineers. So I have production engineers now, and man, we're rocking it out now. So I'm really happy about it.
Okay, so what made you go with that name for the talk show?
I was always Rico, and people used to say when I dance, they call me Rico Suave. Yeah. And I said, well, Rico Suave is in Ecuador. So there's a Rico Suave already. So I said Rico No Suave. So I had to put the no in front of it, right? Yeah. So just to throw people off. So people tend to love it, in regards to that. So that's why I got the Rico No Suave.
Okay. So, a lot of people got talk shows. So what separates your talk show from the other people?
Yeah, speaking to you, Lacey, it's kind of like it's more of the experience of when my guests come on my show. Mm-hmm. But it's also how I make my guests relax. I make it fun. I make them laugh, and I talk about their journey. But we also have similarities. Like, so when I actually have guests come on my show, I interview them first, right? Just to see if it's going to be a match for the show. Because what you don't want is, and you probably noticed, you don't want any deadbeats on your show that can't answer questions, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So when you ask a question, you don't want that one word question, right? But then also, my show is different in a way where, I talk about the people that's locally in like the community, but also celebrities as well too, right? So that mix and match and that balance of saying, hey, we're just not that one flat line, but we're going from, bottom to the middle to the top, right? To be able to let people know that, we're humble in all areas. So that I think, well, besides the name Rico No Suave show, we used to play music too, Lacey. We used to play music on our show. And of course, on Facebook and live streaming.
Yeah.
I had to stop that. And
you gotta mute this.
Right.
People like, I can hear you talking, but I can't hear you.
Right. Well, we used to take breaks. So after we had a question, we would take breaks, play music, and people would be like, on it, like, oh, I love this song. I love this song. But after a while, he's like, you know, if you plan on going towards TV, you probably not going to be able to play that music. So I'm like, yeah, I got to get a band if I do. So.
Okay. Well, you know, I can't let you escape without this. Tell me about Hot and Sizzle with Rico, the food. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Hot and Sizzle with Rico show is kind of I don't want to say it's like a sequel, but a spinoff from my original cooking show called Cooking with Rico. So Cooking with Rico show is kind of my cooking show of, you know, international. So my Hot and Sizzle with Rico is basically going out to communities and also doing charity work, doing like different programs. I got programs lined up that I'm going to actually be, you know, doing things with kids with autism. I'm going to be doing some stuff with diabetes. Also, I'm going to be doing like grand openings, like when grand openings are happening, like maybe a sports club for like health and things like that. The Hot and Sizzle also is going to be working with chefs from hopefully Las Vegas. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say hopefully. We'll be doing stuff in Las Vegas. And you know, I might even get down to St. Louis. You know, now I know you now, I might get down to St. Louis. You know, so come down to St. Louis. I want to actually do a nice little international traveling cooking show that will basically open the eyes for other cultures to get involved with. You know, we have right now, of course, you know, we have Mexican, we have Asian, you know, we have Italian, right? Which is kind of like the main ones. Like, yeah, what do you want to eat? Oh man, I feel like eating tacos today, right? Or hey, let me get some Italian. Forget about it. You know, I want to get some Italian. I'm like, okay. So, but that's it. And then you think about other things as well too. Well, you know, instead of, you know, Mexican, let's go and get some Puerto Rican food. Let's go and get some Cuban food. Or, you know, like, oh man, yeah, let's go and try out some Colombian food. Oh man, let's go and do something different. Yeah. So when it comes to international, I'm cooking, you know, from Pakistan. I'm cooking from Mediterranean. Greek is another, of course, kind of a commercial dish as well too. But I'm trying to get into that deep into where no one have actually, like, from my audience, I should say, and people that watch me, I want them to be able to taste different types of food, but also cook it at home as well. Try it out, you know, and just open up your eyes and then put a little fusion to it as well. So that Hot and Sizzle with Rico is all about cooking some stuff up. I got something coming up as well too. Big shout out to they're called Awesome Life Academy. My man Brandon. We're going to be doing kind of like a MasterChef show, hopefully soon, that will be for kids with autism. And we're going to do kind of like them cooking on a side, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. I'm in the middle, and then I'm cooking with them. And then we're going to have an audience of maybe like 50 people where people can vote, they can donate. And then we kind of had this MasterChef type, or Rico, the MasterChef, you know, working it out with the Hot and Sizzle, you know, as far as going through that whole thing. So that's in the works right now. And I'm proud to be able to, you know, say that to you, to be honest.
I like that. But guy, yes, he ain't gonna move to Chicago, guy, but he might bring the food here. Right? That's enough, guy. That's enough.
I'll be out and say, Lou, I gotta come and see the arch again, you know?
Okay, so Rico, as you've been on your journey doing these great things, what would you say has been your greatest challenge you had to face?
Man, you know, the greatest challenge always when it comes to media is the technology behind it. Mm-hmm. When it comes to audio, when it comes to visual, mm-hmm. I mean, and also just producing each show. Every show that I actually have that you will see recorded, over 200, I'm up to 200 shows now. And I have to say that each week is never the same. You have a different person and you have a different way of communicating. You have to be able to understand when you have technology issues, how to troubleshoot. And those are the challenges when it comes to audio, when it comes to visual, and when it comes to not being able to hear the person, you know, good enough, and how to basically make sure, hey, turn that up. We're in the back end. There's a lot of stuff going in the back end. And of course, I'm in the camera like this. I can't do like this. You can't do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We'll be back.
That just came on. We'll be right back.
We gotta pay some bills. So it's, that's one of the biggest challenges as well too. And I would definitely say, if I can add another one, social media, it's from back in the day when you had flyers and you told people about, hey, check out this, check out that, need a personal touch. Social media has changed a lot of that.
Definitely.
And it's all about who you can convince, even how close they are to you, how you can convince them to say, hey, follow me on Instagram. Hey, follow me on Facebook. Hey, follow me on Twitter, right? And it becomes kind of like, follow, but I'll think about it, right? Like, I'll follow you, but let me think about it first. Exactly. And I'm like, well, you know me for many years. They're like, where is it again?
You got to think about it.
Right? Yeah. So it's kind of that whole convincing where you have to sell yourself. And you have to work hard at it, man. You have to work hard at it. You have to keep it going. And I think that's really important with social media nowadays is once people know who you are, they love you as a person, but that technology savvy type deal is probably not for everybody, but only for the people that you try to get to.
Yes, definitely. So, you've been interviewing, like you said, a lot of guest celebrities. You won't have to say no names, but have you ever had a guest that was just rude or like you were like, I can't wait till we get this person out the show?
No, I mean, I never had a guest that was actually rude. I just think that they were kind of straightforward. I ain't gonna lie. I can say his name. His name is Justin Bring. Justin Bring is a brainiac.
Okay.
He is a brainiac, and he'll tell you himself, nope, I'm straight to the point, and that's it. Now, when you have people like those brainiacs, my mind had to shift to him. I had to be him, like I was in a Matrix. I had to be him for that whole episode. And it was like, how do I talk to him on his level? Because I never interviewed him before, but I talked to him over the phone. I talked to him over the phone, over Zoom, and we were like, hey, I want you to come on. It started like this, and he'll laugh at this too. I want you to come on to my show. He said, okay, great, no problem. I was like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. I'm like, yes, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, I'll tell you in 15 seconds. I'm like, okay, well, this ain't gonna go too far. So I'm like, now keep it in mind, I already locked him in for the date, right? Because when you lock someone in, you can't take them out, right? That's just a disrespect, right? So I told my man Justin, I said, okay, so tell me. So he says, I do this, I do this, I do that, I'll do this, and this is what I do, and this is what I don't do. This is what I like to do, and this is what I don't like to do. And that's me. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, cool. I came back on the show, right? I mean, I'm sorry. I got off on the Zoom, and I'm like, this is going to be an interesting one. I said to myself, Lacey, I was like, yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. This one is going to be good. I was like, and this crazy enough, this is 2 months away, right? So this was like in June, and we're like in April. And when I was like, yeah. And I'm talking to my team. I said, team, just be ready for this one. This one is going to be interesting. He's like one of the 1% of Americans that's like kind of like that millionaire status, right? Wow. And he's like that brainiac where he helps people get that money, and he's straightforward. He'll show you how to get there, but he'll basically like tell you this is how much it's going to cost you to get there, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. We get to the set. I said, hey, he's short, cut to the point. I said, how's it going? Good. How are you? I was like, good. All right, so you ready for this interview? It's like, let's do it. I was like, here we go. So you ask a question and we talk about it. you know, whatever the question may be, say, how did you get started with the company? And then he'll go right into, you know, how he started with the company and he'll tell you, just like he told me, he's like, listen, I don't BS, I get right to the point, and I tell my clients, hey, this is the way it has to be. If you don't have it, call me later, right? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, so what is it that you like to do, right? And then he'll tell me, hey, I love to read, and that's it. And I'm like, okay. So we got into a conversation where my IT brain, he said something about IT. And I was like, boom, got him.
Got him.
I was like, all right. So speaking of technology, and I told him, I'm gonna put my nerdy hat on. I see where you're coming from in regards to how your mind is processed with that. He said, you got it. Ever since then, we were like best friends through the whole conversation.
So you put your brainiac hat on.
Man, Lacey, it was hard, man. It was hard. I'm like, oh, I got him. I said, okay, I'm gonna ask this other question.
Open them up.
It was hard, man. It was hard for the first 30 minutes. And needless to say, just to let you know, back when I interviewed him was a 2-hour show.
Wow.
And I had to put on music. So you can imagine how many songs I had to play.
Yeah, because he was just giving you these short to the point answers. I do it like this. That's it. Next.
We're gonna go to some music real quick. And I'm like, oh man. So, you know, during the break, we would talk, we were talking back. So my co-host Valerie Lacey would say something and she would be like, hey, how did you get involved in this and blah, blah. And then we'll spike up a conversation. I say, you know what? We're gonna talk about that when we come back on. That gave us more ammunition to be able to be with him as far as in that whole thing. Do you know, at the end, he said, you know what? I love your Rico No Suave show shirts. Can I buy some from you? I'm like, well, we got a millionaire asking me how much the shirts are. Normally they $10. I'm trying to
$25.
So I told him, I said, no, for you, it's $10. And we gave him a shirt, of course. We gave him a shirt. We give all our guests Rico No Suave shirt. And we give that to him as a gift, right? Because he is a gem. He is a gem of the world. We're definitely helping people to be millionaires and getting right to it. And he said, oh, I want to buy some for my kids. Can we get 2? I said, okay, that'd be $20. He said, that's it? I was like, don't say that.
That's it? That's all you're coming for?
You can definitely leave your credit card here.
How dare you be so cheap?
So, he bought a shirt that made us feel good. And he came back and he actually, he was really nice. I mean, it wasn't like he was a rude person. It was just that he was really straightforward. It was a time when we asked him a question. He was like, nope. And we was like, that's it? Yeah, nope, it's not gonna work. Nope, that's not gonna happen. Not on my watch. Nope. If I do something like that, I would tell him nope, and I'll never forget that. I will never forget that because he was like really straight to a point, and it was like, okay, all right, let's get to that next question, right? So yeah, my man Justin Brain out. I mean, we really haven't had everyone that comes on the show knows how hype it is. We tell them, take a look at our previous videos, we even had someone that actually declined to be on the show because they knew that their personality wouldn't be there for the show, right? It was like, oh, this is just, you guys are really hype. You guys are on a different level. I don't think I'll be able to come to the show. And we just, with the show itself, man, we love to have a great time. We love to be serious as well. And we talk about, we have breaking news and all of that stuff. So we do talk about, serious things, right? Things that's happening within the world. And then we talk about the journey, and if they crack jokes, we crack jokes with them. So it's just that feeling. So we had some great celebrities on. We had Emery Moorhead from the 85 Chicago Bears. We had Jennifer Behrens that was on American Horror Story, Grey's Anatomy. We had Uliso We had the Lisa Dingwa on from The Wire.
My favorite show.
Yeah. Yep. You got to check out We Own This City. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, I watched it. The same, the people who did The Wire did that. Yep, I just watched it like a month ago. I love it too. Then they got a lot of The Wire people on there.
I know, and I'm like, oh man, this show is. I just finished the season, but sorry, I got sidetracked. I got excited. So I had Lisa Dingwall on there as well too. I had Matt Jasko, the famous race car driver, man. We're real cool as well. We had Curtis Blow, and I want you to know that these are the Braves. Yeah. They have my man on there as well. So all of the celebrities, man, they've been really nice, man. They've been awesome. They show nothing but love for the show, and I had Mark Berry on the show as well. Mark Berry, and I just had my guy Mark Hoberman on the show, and they want to come back on the show. See, that's the good thing about it is, man, once you make that connection with them, they want to come back on the show because we ask great questions, we get deep into it, and I think that's what they want to release. They want to get it all out, so.
That's amazing. Because I interviewed a couple of celebrities. I had Christopher Play Martin. I got Brenda from Brenda's Got a Baby. Then I had this the most greatest one of all, Rico No Suave. You know what I'm saying?
I heard that guy, man. I heard that guy, man. I'm like,
he the greatest, Make sure you check him out.
That's love, man.
But for real, just like you, I had a professor on, and he was like an Afrofuturist, so he was giving me them same direct answers to us. When I hit him with something Afrofuturist, I was like, I got him, because then he started opening it up, talking. By the end of the show, I had him laughing. He was talking about Tupac and all type of stuff. So I know what you mean. I understand.
It's important, man. People don't know that it's really hard to interview people that either have not interviewed before or they don't really have the skills to interview.
Exactly, yes.
Those are the hard things. We're like psychologists, right? We throwing psychological questions out there. We being therapists while we talking, right?
Yeah.
And you trying to smile and they not smiling, and it's like, oh.
I'm laughing. They like, what are you laughing at?
Right in their head.
But I'm pretty good. So what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment?
Getting to this point where you're at, bro. Like where you at interviewing me. It's very seldom that I get a lot of interviews like this. But when I do get an interview like this, it feels good. I think one of the accomplishments that I've been holding off for so long is I've always been made to do this. And I think because of my milestones that I've been having, and don't get me wrong, my salsa class, I was with the community, man. I was doing it. I tell people all the time, I say, listen, I love the community, man. But if I would have started this when I should have started this during that time of coming up, I think just by being an MC and then also being a talk shows, because my mom was always saying, Rico, you're going to have to be on TV. I'm going to make sure you get on TV. And that was one of the milestones I would have to say that my mom wanted me to actually pursue. She wanted me to be on TV. And it was just that accomplishment of her saying that confidence that she had, and me actually having that visually in my head to be able to do that. And it's you start learning over time, man. You start learning over time where people start to appreciate you as a person. They appreciate the things that you do. And then, the man upstairs just says, hey, looking down on you, say, hey, it's your time now. I think it's time for you to be able to do this. And when I took that first step and I started working, because we're perfectionists, right? So when it comes to a talk show, we want our talk show to be perfect, because what does that do for you? It makes you look good. It makes me look good. It makes us look good. So, and that's what it's all about. And not be phony about it. Meaning that, no, I want you to come back on my show. Right. I want you to come back on my show. I want you to feel this. And I think that's the gift of actually, you know, being an MC, but also being someone in front of the camera to be able to tell people, hey man, this is a passion, this is a joy, it's a lot of hard work, and we're definitely going to get there. So yeah, man.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You know, you've been doing this for a while now. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to get in the industry, trying to do their own talk show podcast? What advice would you give them?
I'm telling Lacey that has a podcast about this, and you might vibe with me on this one, because the pandemic, I don't know, I'm not for sure. I started this before the pandemic.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Okay. So you're gonna vibe with me on this one. Mm-hmm. When you start something at the very beginning, when you have people that does streaming, such as like ESPN, you have you got Joe Rogan, you have Howard Stern, you have all of those, you know, great people that's actually doing podcasts, and then you have podcasts, you know, that people are actually doing for like inspirational and things like that. But when the pandemic hit, woof,
oh man,
you saw
everybody
all over. Like you like this. Like, okay, I know I've been in the game for a little bit. I know that I've been doing this, and this is going to answer your question as to what do I give people advice on when you're trying to start your own talk show. Podcast is easy. Like podcast, you put a mic, put a USB to your computer, talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yes.
And you can sit in someone's living room and do it, right? And you be like comfortable.
Yes.
There's a difference between of having something like you have in a studio versus to being at home, which is just in front of your camera, that one camera.
Yes.
And you don't understand the whole production behind it. If you just want to be a podcaster, that's fine. That's where you kind of want to be into that level of trying to be different. What can I come up with? Exactly. Being creative, having different ideas. When you come on this side where it's, and you know this, when you have a production, when there is audio mixers, when there is multiple microphones, when there is lighting that has to be involved, multiple cameras. Oh, and then you have to go through each week. And this is what I do in advance. We're booked all the way through September with interviews. Each year, I book my interviews all the way through until like close to the end of the year. The reason why I do this, because people have came to me and excited to be on the show, and then I revisit them maybe every 2 to 3 months to make sure we're still on track. But that's how I lock that in, right? And as a talk show, I tell people, I said, listen, you have to produce the show each week. You have to promote the show each week. You have to make sure that you test your equipment each week. You cannot think that, oh, I'm just going to plug it in right before we go and then go from there. No, you have to do sound check 30 minutes beforehand. It might be even earlier than that, just to make sure that you have to hire a production team, because you can't do everything by yourself, right? So you got to have that in order for people to understand when you're talking about a talk show with a production crew, and if you're going towards TV, or you just want to stay on like one-on-one camera, or you're in front of a camera and you're just talking to somebody, like conversation, that's easy. But it's the content and what you're trying to build behind is what you have to go through. So my advice is to them is, once I say all of that, you're going to make your decision, right? You're going to say, well, we just had some thought. I had some few people come to me about that. Like, how can I do this? How can I shadow you? I'm like, you're more than welcome to come to my show. You too, Lacey. You're more than welcome to come to shot, come on the set, see how we do things. I could even interview you, and people can see exactly that real live production.
Hold on. And see how things. Let me pause you right quick. Now look, y'all, I got this live. He said I could come on the show. So security, do not try to throw me out.
No, you with me, bro. You with me. Let him in. He let him in. He's with me. No, you come to Chicago, bro. I'm gonna show you a good time, man. I'm gonna show you a good time here, man. Yeah, definitely. You come to Chicago, but that's the experience that I tell people. Mm-hmm. And I have to be detailed about it. Yeah. You cannot just be like, oh man, you see the few. No, you know how much these mics cost? Mm-hmm. These mics cost $300 to $400 a piece. These mics, now don't get me wrong, when I first started, my mics was the EV. So I only had, it was like $79, but I had to buy 3 to 4 of them, right? So during that time, of course, I had the EV, so I had the stand-up mics. Now, when you actually say, okay, we got to upgrade this, we got to get the boom R, we got to get the Shure mics, we got to get the Sennheiser mics, RA200s, we got to get those. Now you're talking about 500, 300, 350. Yes. You're talking about mixers, that's $400. You're talking about all of that. So now part of your talk show is budgeting.
Yes.
Right? So now you have to think about that. And as soon as you put that all together, wait for your income taxes, because it's gonna work.
Wait for that income tax check come. Like,
because I ain't gonna lie to you, I had to wait for mine too. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna be right on camera to my income tax coming.
I used to do that back in the day when I was in college. Back in the day, I'm like, well, for to get this loan and get this studio. Hey, it's funny you said that, Rico. When I was in college, I went to college, Webster University for I got my bachelor's degree in film production. So once the instructor broke everything down, they like, okay, you gotta get the camera, you gotta get the audio, blah blah. All the people was like, oh, this real work. So everybody started dropping out of the film program. They thought they were pick up a camera and film. They were like, oh, this is work. But it got to be your passion. You got to love to do it. You know what I'm saying?
You got to find that budget too, man. Yep. You got to find the budget, but you also have to have a vision.
Yes, definitely.
The vision is what makes it, because that's your blueprint of everything. Fact. You're like, man, this is going to work out really well if I got people that's going to be on the same boat as me. Fact. Right? Yeah. As soon as you get that, it's all history. As long as if they stay with you, that's even better, right?
Yeah.
That's even better too. Because sometimes like, too much work. Right?
All right, Mr. Rico. My last question that I love to ask all my guests.
Yes, sir.
When it is all over, when it is all said and done, and you are long gone from this earth, what is it that you want the people to know about Rico No Suave?
So the legacy is about helping people open up their eyes, understanding different cultures, being kind to each other. It's almost as the journey that I'm saying. I asked this question, it's kind of the same question we asked on our show. What can you do to make the world better? And when you do that, I make the world better through food, through happiness, through entertainment, and also just being humble and kind to the brother man, right? And to the sister, right? So, and to everyone, right? To humans in general, being nice and just knowing that I don't want to leave here with a bad image, but I want them to know that it's natural to me when we actually have this. And I think that's important. And I think that's why it has taken me so far, that when I am gone, people will be like, man, we had some great times on Rico, man. That was the bomb, man. We had such a great time. And hopefully one day my face will be on somebody's wall, or somebody's plaque, or on Hollywood or something like that. That'd be really nice for people to know that, I at least, was kind of a tutor to some of the people that actually need that help.
Good. So you got anything coming up, or let the people know where they can find you at?
Yeah. So check me out. Everybody, we talk about social media, you know what I mean? So make sure you go to Rico No Suave Show on Instagram, Rico No Suave Show on Instagram. Check out my website, www.thericonosuaveshow.com. So make sure you put that "the" in there. As well, too, every Saturday I have a guest. This Saturday I have Al Gotti, the one. He is a reggaetonero, so he's a reggaeton artist, upcoming reggaeton artist, and he'll be on the show. We at 12 p.m. Central Time. You know, we actually open up, you know, with a little music in the background, you know, so people can get in there, you know, copy free, I should say, copyright
not
free,
own the
right?
right to dispute those.
Yeah, so we do 11:54, so people can actually join in. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. So Rico No Suave show all the way through. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow me there. You'll definitely love the content. And you'll see even, technology issues that happen, because it happens within, within TV in general, but you'll see a little bit of that, but hopefully, they'll continue and not drop off, right? So so that's everything about me, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate you, for coming on the platform. You're gonna have to get me on the show one day, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, you got me on video now. So
yeah.
you know how to get in contact with me, man.
I really enjoyed the interview. I love your energy, and I would definitely let you know when I drop this article and the interview also. Yeah,
that's love, man. And I appreciate this, man. This means a lot to me. And yeah, when you drop the article, man, just please let me know. I basically will pub it out to all of my social media, to my people as well too, so they can support you as well. You're doing great things that now that I'm on that journey, and you made me part of yours. So I'm happy, man. I appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you. You have a good rest of the evening. Rico No Suave.
Yes, sir. I'll see you guys.
All right,
Thank you, man.
Peace out.
Peace. Ciao.